Hi, good morning. Oh, got the sun in my eyes. Mustn't complain about the sun. Right, so as you can see, I'm covering this bed and I'm covering it with a weed suppressing membrane. And a bit. I can put that there. There we go. And the turn that around a bit. The reason for covering it is this is where my tomatoes are going in this year, and I really want to cut down on my weeding. I've got 3 polytunnels I look after. I've got a fruit cage which is in disarray. I've got a large flower garden. I've got raised beds. I've got more raised beds out there. And I've just started doing what I call my allotment field, which I'll take you down to in a minute. It's a big area where I've been converting part of a field over to growing veg. Why do I need all these vegetables? Well, number one, prices are going to skyrocket this year. I mean, we grow 90% of our own vegetables anyway. I don't buy in much, and I preserve, dehydrate, freeze dry, freeze, can, surplus. But I've also got quite a few people who buy veg boxes off me. I don't advertise veg boxes. These are boxes of surplus veg that we've grown, and I offer them out to friends. And that helps to pay for, you know, like the next year's growing. Etc. So, but I have more people asking now for veg than what I actually have available. The vegetables we grow, we can't claim as organic because I won't pay for the organic certificate, but we grow without the use of chemicals, and so it's as chemical free as I can possibly be. You know, I use natural methods of pest control. So yeah, so it's we get more and more people asking, so I thought, well, as I've got the space, I may as well, and I've got the time. Now the buffalo have gone and the pigs have gone and the sheep have gone. All I've got left is goats and alpacas and poultry. So we may as well try and grow that extra veg to supply. It just gives me a little bit of an extra income to help with supporting the smallholding. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Yeah, so this area, I'm covering, oh, you can't see it, I haven't done the other side yet, covering with membrane to help cut down on the weeding, and it also helps to cut down on the water evaporation out the soil. Although I do water quite a lot. I've got an overhead watering system here in the tunnel, but then last year I installed these, and I can direct these to wherever I want, and they're like a misting system, so I can, and I've got them all the way down this bed and all the way down that bed, so I can keep everything cool, keep it misted. And the other thing is, I grow my tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers in these. What do you call them? Oh, I can't remember. And basically they will go down. The plant gets planted in here. So which means any extra watering or feeding I can do in this oasis, so it goes straight down to the roots of that plant. So I have these sort of positioned like that up and down the bed to make as much use of the space as possible. And so when I come to planting, which isn't time yet, it's only April, which will probably be next month, I will burn a hole in the membrane I won't cut it out. I've tried cutting before. I'll burn a hole in the membrane or melt a hole, I should say, and then position them, and the tomatoes will go in there. I'm growing 3 different sorts of tomatoes this year. I'm growing a black cherry heirloom. I'm growing an orange, is it orange queen, pearly queen, something like that it's called. Again, it's another heirloom one. And the other one I'm growing is a long life hanging tomato. You can hang them up, bunches of them up, while they're green at the end of the season, and they will slowly ripen over winter. So I'm going for those as well this year. Peppers, which will go down that side. I haven't weeded that side yet. So peppers, I'm growing green ones, red ones, and I think I've got a few yellows. So they'll be over there with the cucumber, and I'm growing mini cucumbers this year, along with cucamelons as well, which is a cross between a cucumber melony little stripy thing, which are nice to snack on. So that's what I'll be growing. The like tender ones this year. I've got a couple of beds, I don't know if you can see them, but they are actually growing. This one here and that one there, they're carrots. These beds are just being cleared out, and at the back I've got an asparagus bed which we're harvesting from at the moment. So I will have 3 spare beds there, which I plan to use for various lettuces, etc. So that's sort of the plan for those, and as them others get cleared and weeded, they will be covered with membrane to stop the weeds coming up. I generally put down fish blood and bone meal, and then I cover with a membrane. And of course in here as well, there is, as you can see, there's a nice big rosemary bush. In fact, there's 3 different types of rosemary there. And I've got snapdragons, anthuraniums, which I'm happy to have flowers in the polytunnel because they encourage the pollinating insects. They encourage the predatory insects that will, you know, feed on the green fly, etc. And I will also, on these middle beds, I will put in some tagetes and marigold, because they help to deter, the smell of them helps to deter some of the aphids. That was the word I was looking for, aphids. And of course there is down the end a grapevine. He's been here for, well, many years. He's not an edible grape, not unless you want the seeds, that is. It's a red grape that we use for juicing wines, jellies, that type of thing. Outside this polytunnel we're still harvesting parsnips, and we've got the last of the carrots that were growing in winter. I've just been planting up new strawberry plants out here. Most of these beds are going to be filled with strawberries. I've decided to take them out of the polytunnel. I'm emptying a polytunnel of strawberries this week. But I decided to take them out because it just gets too hot in there for them. So let me take you down and show you this allotment field. There we go. Here's old Helen. She's still in her little paddock on her own, and she's come up to the gate today, and as you can see she's all bony and old and arthritic, and this is our disabled goat Helen. So she's just munching on some bits I've pulled out of the polytunnel, and this is our young Billy, and we've got 3 expectant does in here as well. So when are you going to have your babies? I think she's only carrying 1 because she's not very big. I don't think they're far off though, because the others are getting quite sizable. That's old Big Mama there. If anything, she'll probably have triplets. She usually does. And the other one's over the other side. The ducks also live up here. Right, these are new raised beds that are being set up. These will be where the courgettes go this year. The ducks go in here at night, the bandit ducks that live around this area. So this is a space Helen's got to herself, which I showed on another video when we moved over. Here's our other pregnant mama. I think if anything she might be first, and she's this first timer, and I think she'll be having probably twins. She looks like she's carrying twins. And yeah, so I'm just going to sit here by the fence. Too hot, is it? Yeah, they will end up going indoors at some point. You're barely getting in the way there, is it? Hey? So this is our little coppicing willow bit. And this whole area is surrounded by flowering wild cherry trees. I planted these some 8-9 years ago, and I planted them with my granddaughter. Yeah, look at that. And they do actually produce fruit now, which is lovely. So these ones are all for the birds, in the hope that they'll stay off mine. So this is what I'm calling my allotment field. It's probably the size of an allotment. That's Helen's house. That's where she goes at night. She goes in and out, her own free will. She's not shut in. Squeaky gate. Right, we uncovered all of this bit yesterday because this is where I've got cauliflowers, broccoli, sprouts, cabbages are all going to go into this area. It's quite a big area, so this area is uncovered until it's ready to be used. And these are the onions. All doing well. Barely see them there, but they are there. So this top half here is your normal everyday brown onions, and then we start with, I think the red onions start here. I think this is a red onion. Yeah, these are red onions. So the red onions from there down to there. And there is some shallots in here, and these are just starting to push through. They're a bit slower, but they are. I think I've got 4 rows of shallots there, and I've got space there for leeks. So there's 369 onions in total planted there. So this is my allotment field. So yesterday we were down here and we pulled the covering back off there. It's just been folded over here out of the way. So I can get some, I shall get some bloodfish and bone meal down, and then I will run over it with my small cultivator. And then I will put rows of membrane down, which I'm going to burn holes in again, so to reduce the weeding between the plants as they grow. We shall also have an area here for sweet corn, and I shall try and get some sunflowers in down here as well. So in fact I might do a row of sunflowers on the back, over the very back of this area, which looks a bit dead, but it isn't. These are all Jerusalem artichokes, which we harvest for the goats, and we harvest sunflowers. So, and they're all just starting to come up again. So I don't really do a lot with them. The goats like the foliage, yes, that's what we do with them. So it's just left a bit wild actually. So this is the new vegetable allotment growing area. So I think it is roughly an allotment size. I haven't measured it. If I needed more space, I've got an area up there that I still might get covered with membrane, actually, just to kill the weeds off, and then if next year I wanted to use it, I can. Although next year we are hoping, of course, to have the farm up for sale. I've kept the edges like this. I can go along them with my strimmer. The willow gets harvested for the goats again, and you see they're quite tall, and some of the ones that have been allowed to grow bigger, once the goats have stripped all the bark off, they dry out pretty fast, and they get cut up for logs. And of course there's another willow patch up there. So that is all the growing area. You can see where Helen's been munching at them because they've got no little leaves left on top, and she's been stripping the bark off. And of course once it's ringed like this with no bark going all the way around, that top would actually die off over time. So these are the ones I will cut first and put into the other goats for eating. I try to give them fresh forage every day. And of course, keeping the vegetables in rows down there, it means I'll be able to protect them. I've got some netting that can go over the top. You've moved down there now, have you, Helen? Yeah. Good girl. So she's separated from the others because she gets bullied because she's old. But she's just the other side of the fence to them. So she's close, but not close enough to be bullied. Right, so yeah, so that's what's happening in the vegetable gardens at the moment. While I'm at it, I could actually show you in the big tunnel. The ducks, they hang around in here with the goats as well. These ducks, the other ducks are down the bottom. They hang around with the alpacas. Right, so this wire tunnel, I've got hops growing up it. This is a honeyberry here. This is a cutting off the other grape, and I've got a thornless blackberry going across the back there. This is all going to get filled with, I've got some raspberries coming. I'm going to put some raspberries in this one here. Got a few apple trees there in pots. They were kept in pots because when I bought them, they were bought ready for us to move with. And there's some blueberry cuttings there as well. So, strawberries. Yeah, there's lots of strawberries to come over, and that will fill that area. So the fruit cage, which we won't look at because it is a shambles. This box bed here is going to get cleared, and I'm putting French climbing beans in there. There's some more brassicas there. I've just cleared this down of broccoli. I'm thinking the cooker melons actually might go there. I might build some sort of frame for them to grow up. Right, in here we've got some Swiss chard. I've got some spinach, and these are more cauliflowers, and some more cauliflowers there. These two frames, this is the last of the celeriac. These two frames are going to be used for climbing peas and old heirloom varieties. I've got two. I've got telephone pole, and I've got, oh, I can't remember what the other one's called, but they're both tall climbing ones, and they grow to about 8 foot, so they'll go right up to the top of these frames. So they'll be in here. In here I've got, it was a little pack of a dangling pea, that's it. a trailing pea. So they're in there and they're just starting to come through, so they'll just hang down and hopefully we'll have some early peas to pick. Got sweet peas waiting to go out. I've got more bedding, not bedding, but flowering plants there which are going to go out. Stocks, Prepg, cosmos, etc. These are all going into, they're all going into the other polytunnel. I'll show you that in a bit. So I've got peppers, tomatoes, French beans. These are suffering a bit with the heat. I'll have to do a shade over them. I've got brassicas, more brassicas. These are some trays of leeks. They're not come up yet, but that's a stray of something coming up. Where is it? There it is, and it's not leek. More plants, more cuttings. These are some spring onions. There's a few broad beans left. There are beans. They didn't do brilliantly in here. They could have done with being outside actually. I did spot some beans somewhere. Can't see them now. This is a bastard broccoli. It's an old Ireland variety, and it forms a solid heart, a bit like a cabbage, but it's tastes of broccoli. So got some weeding to do around it. And that there is some green cauliflowers. The pak choi's gone to seed now. Anything that goes to seed like that goes down to the goats. So we got all of this weeded yesterday. Ready for another growing session. So I think this one is a red cauliflower, and then that I think is your standard white. Oh, I could be wrong about that. Got a little bed of leeks. They're just for our own personal use. Another little bed of a shallot type onion, mullein, rhubarb. I've got some rhubarb I'm forcing under that. A few herbs and things. Right, this is the polytunnel where the strawberries are coming out of. So all of these strawberry plants here, it gets too hot and dry in here for them because I've got the peach tree. This is all fruit trees, so it just gets too hot and dry. So I'm going to pull the strawberries out, and I'm going to put a frame in. I've got some canna lilies growing there. Oops, got a bit blurry there. And I've got some dahlias. I've got some more dahlias to put in. I've got more lilies to put in. The sweet peas are going to go in here, and other flowering plants are going to go in here as well. The kiwi here I spotted yesterday has got flower buds on it. So this year, oops, step over. This is my banana. Where did I spot them? I spotted them yesterday. They've got to be here somewhere. Oh, there we go. So maybe this year we might get a few kiwis. That would be quite nice. I've got another, this one's an edible grape in the back, and that's a prickly ash. Gojo berry, plum, etc. So loquat has never done anything. It's never flowered. I don't know whether it will or not. I'll have to wait and see. But I haven't got in here to tidy up yet. Yeah, so it'll be quite nice if the kiwi produces fruit this year. I could do with something else for it to trail along, so it goes along the roof. And this is my olive here, which does sometimes flower, and then it produces tiny little berries, and then they all drop off. This is my blue sausage fruit shrub, which I have taken some cuttings off. And this is my pomegranate, which flowers. Sometimes it flowers profusely, but it never produces any fruit. So I don't know what's going on there. could do with taking some air layering, some cuttings off it. These are the citrus trees, and as you can see, we've got some lemons coming on this year. There's another one over there. Lots of flowers, and the orange trees are just coming into flower as well. So yeah. Right, so that just about rounds that up. Of course, there are other things around: apple trees, pear trees, plum trees, figs, etc. And of course, everything's just waking up at the moment. So I'm going to go back to sorting out that membrane and getting that bed covered, and then I might start taking up some strawberries and getting them planted. So, but as you can see, I'm quite flushed already. I did think I caught the sun a bit yesterday as well. So okay then folks, I'll catch up with you again soon. Take care everybody.